was a good performance that from England against Costa Rica. I thought we played some good stuff. I enjoyed that. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. I thought that was a major step up from the in terms of our performance from the friendly against New Zealand at the weekend. I thought that's the perfect way to go. Yeah, to perfect way to end the preparation for the World Cup, going into our first game in less than a week now against Croatia. So Costa Rica not in the World Cup. I did wonder if they had maybe, despite not being in the World Cup, I did wonder if they would maybe pose a bigger challenge to New Zealand, or maybe it would be a better, more higher tempo game. Simply because they're not in the tournament. New Zealand, like us, I think, were very much trying to avoid the injuries on that pitch, and very much, in preparation for the World Cup themselves. Costa Rica, that's their last game. They're not in the tournament. That's their last game for a while. No competitive games going up. I thought, they could really go at it. Really, there's no reason for them not to just give 100% and just really have a go. And I thought we, very, very convincing win from England. I mean, it's. We started very well. Already from the opening 10 minutes, you can see it's higher tempo. The game was being played at a much faster pace. I think it made a difference. The conditions made a difference. There was obviously the rain yesterday with the storm, which postponed the game an hour. And coming out, I think the conditions and the pitch were a lot easier to play than what we saw the other day, which was blazing sunshine on pretty a pitch that might as well have been concrete in Tampa. It was very much a slow game. It was one real moment of quality from Harry Kane, a little bit more. He stepped up a little in the second half. It was very, very quiet for the whole game, very quiet game. This was a much more, direct approach from England. I thought there was a lot more creativity, and I thought was getting into positions a lot. There was creating a lot of good chances. Even after the first goal, I thought, was threatening the second straight away, and the whole rest of the first half looked like it was going to get the second. And that first goal was really well worked as well. Gordon does really well down that left-hand side to then put it on a plate for Declan Rice, who then comes up with a very good finish. And Gordon, he made a real case for himself to start there. It's going to be an ongoing debate throughout the tournament who should start there, Gordon or Rashford. You can make a good argument for either one. Personally, I'm still thinking Marcus Rashford, but Gordon certainly made his case yesterday, and I think, it's a long tournament. If we go all the way to the final, it will be 8 games that are played. The same 11 won't be able to start every single game, and there will, at some point there'll no doubt be extra time and potential penalty shootouts and all this sort of stuff, and you'll have to rotate, especially because of I keep saying it, because of the conditions. Some players will need to be rotated a lot as well, so it's worth bearing that in mind, that just because someone's not starting in the first 11 against Croatia doesn't necessarily mean they're not going to play a big part in this tournament. Of course, that was what I thought. To be honest, that's what I thought the starting 11 will be at the tournament. Something very similar to that. The only thing that I might see changing is I'll probably see Saka on the right instead of Mandzukic. Other than that, that might even be the 11 we see against Croatia. Could we see Rashford over Gordon? That'll be, like I say, ongoing throughout the tournament. They'll probably be swapped round a bit. And would we see Rodgers over Bellingham? That's the other one that could happen. But other than that, that's much more the 11 I think that we'll see against throughout the World Cup, and I think that's why it was not really. There was no need to really sort of panic too much about the really sort of very uninspiring game against New Zealand, because that wasn't the first 11 that Tuchel's going to play in the tournament. And that 11 that played yesterday, most of them much more used to playing together, and that's shown as well in the way we started the game. And I think that there's much more settled team, and I think that was the first game as well, it was just the first friendly. This one, the second one, I think, you could tell that, they've gone up another level, and I think that was, a nice way to go into the tournament. I still think we're a team that could grow into the tournament and really get better as it goes on. I also think that what does give me a lot of hope for this tournament, and I think, that friendly yesterday, I think will just calm a lot of people down and just get the optimism back a bit going into the World Cup, because there was some negativity after that New Zealand game, and the reality was it wasn't great. It wasn't a good game to watch, but I think there was a lot of reasons why. And I mean, Tuchel, he said he wasn't worried about it, but wasn't overly inspired by it either. Yesterday, he said, I think he said he put his mind at rest at a lot that performance yesterday, and I think it speaks for a lot of people there. I certainly agree with that as well. That just puts aside any doubt that we're coming into this tournament as not I wouldn't say the favourites, but certainly one of the front runners. We're a team that can win this tournament. We've got the players, we've got the manager, we've got a squad that's well, we've got a manager that's good at knockout football, and obviously we've always had Gareth Southgate before, who's always done really well in tournaments with England. However, what we have still got is a squad that's knows how to deal with these tournaments now as well. The core of the team has had a really good tournament with England at some point in the past. Before, most of those players were in that Euro 2024 squad that got to the final. Most of those players, the fair few of them have got that experience from going back a fair few tournaments as well. So that's something that's certainly is a reason to be optimistic as well. Second half was very good as well. Second half did not drop off. Subs were made, and I thought, it was good. It was certainly was good form carried on. I mean, should we have had a penalty right at the end of the half? It was probably not. But in going into the second half, we obviously do win a penalty. Handball from the shot from Rezaider, there was the handball, and then you see Gordon obviously steps up to take it. And it's good to see now that they actually said on the commentary last night they've got a lot of these England players now are going well in penalty shootouts. They're taking good penalties, and we've got a lot of experienced penalty takers now as well. And that's going to be important because at some point, if you look at our last, three of our last 4 tournaments, I believe, there's been the major tournaments. There's been a penalty shootout at some point, so it's quite likely that at some point, with how tight some of these games are going to be, that we could see that. So it's good that we have got those options. That if it does go to extra time, that we've got the squad that have got good penalties in them as well, because that's going to be important. That's always obviously been somewhere, as everyone will know, where we've come unstuck many times in the past. So the fact that we seem to be on a bit of a good run at the moment with that as well is certainly promising. But Gordon, he takes a penalty, 2-0 up from there. It's very, very comfortable for England. Just very, very can take it nice and easy for the rest of the game. Keep pushing for that third, but just not worry too much about it. We've seen a good performance already by this point. But the third goal does come. Obviously, the keeper needs to do better. The keeper makes a mistake here, obviously, but 2 teammates technically, I suppose, ended up linking up because we got the shot from Rodgers that he drops, and then straight out to Watkins, who finishes it off, and that makes up for the miss the other day. And that's everything that we didn't see the other day, I think we saw in this game, and I think it's a nice way to sign off to go into the World Cup, and much, much better performance. I just think that will just put a lot of people's minds at rest, and I just think that now they can look forward to the tournament and not have that really sort of, not exciting game at all in the heads against New Zealand. That was an exciting performance. It was a good performance. A lot of good football was played there. A lot of players looked very good and linked up well as well with one another, which is something that we've not seen a lot of in the previous friendlies we've had over recently. There's been, they've looked like teams that have not played together. I mean, that was much more finished product in terms of what the starting 11 will probably look like. But, the team played well together, and I think that was something that a lot of people wanted to see. So, now, next up, obviously, we kick off the World Cup. World Cup starts today, in fact, actually, but we play, obviously, Croatia just under a week's time now. And that's obviously a good way to start the tournament, I think. Probably, on paper, that's the hardest group stage game that we've got. So, to get that one done first, certainly going to be good. I think it's certainly going to be a good test to start off with, and if we can get a good result there, it'll set us up very nicely for the rest of the group. And from what we saw yesterday, I think there's certainly a lot of optimism now coming into this tournament, and there's no reason why we can't go all the way. The only thing is going to be is when we come up against the top sides, it's just getting it right on the day. But I definitely do think we have a really good tournament. I think we're already seeing a lot of quality yesterday, and it's a good way to coming into the World Cup. So very convincing 3-0 win for England over Costa Rica, and next up, obviously, it's the real thing, Croatia in the World Cup.